Alright, I think that's enough work for tonight. Come on, baby, let's go to bed. You want a story first? Sure. What kind of story would you like? A horror story? Then how is that going to help you sleep? Are you sure? Alright, baby. Any particular theme in mind? Up to me? Okay. Well, I definitely don't want to keep you up, so how about I tell you a story I heard a long time ago? Just 1 second. I should have that book somewhere. Oh, found it. Okay, so let's see. Ah, here it is. The Witch. Aw, yes, of course. You can lie on my lap while I read. You're so cute. Ready to hear the story? Okay. So, once upon a time, there was a peasant whose wife died. For some years, the poor man cared for the children as best as he could, but at last he married again. However, the twins' new stepmother was very cruel to them, and beat them and half-starved them. All day she thought of nothing but how she could get rid of them. At last an evil idea came to her, and one morning she said to them, "I am going to send you to visit my granny, who lives in a dear little hut in the woods. You will have to work hard for her, but she will take such good care of you." Yeah, I know, right? It's so sketchy. So the children left the house with only a bottle of milk and a piece of ham and a hunk of bread. Yeah, that's all they had. Oh, I know, poor things. So the little sister, who was very wise for her years, said to the brother, "Our stepmother is not sending us to her granny, but to a wicked witch. We must be polite and kind to everyone, and never touch a crumb belonging to anyone else. Then who knows? Someone might help us." Yeah, she does seem optimistic despite their situation. Eventually, the children saw in the thickest of the trees a little hut. Nervously, they peeped inside. There lay the witch, with her head on the threshold, a foot in each corner, and her knees cocked up, almost touching the ceiling. At least she wasn't crawling on the ceiling. Oh geez, yeah, that would be scary, like she's possessed. Ugh. The witch greeted the children with a snarl.
"Who's there?"
Sorry, that was my attempt at a witch voice. Terrible, I know. You like it? Okay, I'll keep it then. Okay, so although the twins were terrified, they answered politely,
"Good morning, Granny. Our stepmother has sent us to serve you." "See that you do it well, then,"
growled the witch.
"If I am pleased with you, I'll reward you. But if I am not, I'll cook you in the oven."
So saying, she set the girl down to spin the yarn, and she gave the boy a sieve in which to carry water from the well, and she herself went out into the wood. The girl began weeping bitterly because she could not spin, but suddenly she heard hundreds of little feet, and from every hole in the hut mice came pattering, squeaking, and saying,
"Little girl, why are your eyes so red? If you want help, then give us some bread."
So the girl gave them some of her bread. Then the mice told her that the witch had a cat, and the cat was very fond of ham. If she would give the cat her ham, it would show her the way out of the wood, and in the meantime, they would spin the yarn for her. How could a cat spin yarn? don't know, this story doesn't have logic. I mean, they are talking animals too. So anyway, the girl set out to look for the cat, and as she was hunting about, she met her brother. He was in great trouble because he could not carry water from the well in a sieve, as it came pouring out as fast as he put it in. As she was trying to comfort him, they heard a rustling of wings, and a flight of wrens alighted on the ground beside them. The wrens said, "Give us some crumbs, then you need not grieve, for you'll find that water will stay in the sieve." Then the twins crumbled some of their bread on the ground, and the wrens pecked at it and chirped. When they had eaten the last crumb, they told the boy to fill up the holes of the sieve with clay, and then to draw water from the well. So he did what they said, and carried a sieve full of water into the witch's hut without spilling a drop. When they entered the house, the cat was curled up on the floor. They stroked her and fed her the ham, and said to her,
"Kitty, tell us how to get away from the witch."
The cat thanked them for the ham, and gave them a pocket handkerchief and a comb, and told the children what they should do with them to escape. The cat had scarcely finished speaking when the witch returned. Yeah, close call, right? Upon her return, the witch spoke.
"Well, you have done well enough for today," she grumbled, "but tomorrow you'll have something more difficult to do, and if you don't do it, well, straight into the oven you go."
Half dead with fright, the poor children lay down to sleep on a heap of straw in the corner of the hut. They dared not close their eyes and scarcely breathed. In the morning, the witch gave the girl 2 pieces of linen to weave before night, and the boy a pile of wood to chop before leaving the children to set out into the wood once again. As soon as she was out of sight, the children took the comb and the handkerchief, and holding hands they ran and ran and ran. First they met the witch's watchdog, who was going to tear them to pieces, but they threw the remains of their bread to him, and he ate it and wagged his tail with delight. Then they were hindered by the birch trees, whose branches almost put their eyes out, but the little sister tied the twigs together with her hair ribbon, and they managed to get past safely and came out onto the open fields. In the meantime, in the house, the cat was busy weaving the linen. The witch returned to see how the children were getting on. She crept up to the window and whispered,
"Are you weaving, my dear?"
"Yes, Granny, I am weaving," answered the cat. I know, the cat is pretty cunning. But the witch wasn't fooled and realized that the children escaped. She was furious and hit the cat, screeching, "Why did you let the children leave?" But the cat spat and answered, "I have served you all these years, and you never even threw me a bone. But the children gave me their own piece of ham." I know, that was my attempt at doing a Brit accent as well. Anyway, then the witch was furious with the watchdog and with the birch trees because they had let the children pass. But the dog answered, "I have served you all these years, and you never gave me so much as a crust, but the children gave me their own loaf of bread." And the birch trees rustled its leaves and said, "I have served you longer than I can say, and you never even tied a bit of twine round my branches, but the children bound me with their bright ribbon." The witch saw there was no help to be received from her old servants, so she mounted her broom and set off after the children herself. As the twins ran, they heard the sound of the broom close behind them. They remembered what the cat had told them and threw the handkerchief over their shoulders. Instantly, a deep, broad river flowed behind them. It took the witch a long time to find a place to ride over on her broomstick, but at last she got across and continued the chase faster than before. As the children ran, they heard the broom close behind them. So quick as thought, they did what the cat had told them and threw the comb down on the ground. In an instant, a denser forest sprang up. in which the roots and branches were so closely intertwined that it was impossible to find a way through it. When the witch came to it, she found there was nothing for it but to turn around and go home, tearing her hair out with rage. The twins ran straight on until they reached home. They told their father all that they had suffered, and he was so angry with their stepmother that he drove her out of the house and never let her return. Then he and his children lived happily ever after. The end. So what did you think of the story? You liked it? Yeah? That's good. Yeah, I know. I was expecting them to come home to something horrible too when I first heard the story. Like their stepmother had poisoned their father or something. I know. It is sad that the children lost their mom. Oh, baby, no. You'll never lose me. You're stuck with me forever. I'll always be here, I promise. Anyway, you want to get some sleep? Yeah. Okay. Good night, baby. Sweet dreams.